Welcome to my presentation, Children are as unique as a fingerprint. To better understand my approach and views of early childhood education, I completed Katzmeyer and Moller's Philosophy of Education inventory. I discovered my teaching principles and practices align with a humanistic approach, closely followed by the progressive and social change philosophy of education. I believe students who have high self-efficacy, a strong sense of belonging, and are equipped with great communicative tools to express themselves are more likely to find purpose in society and in turn are active participants in lifelong learning. These beliefs are echoed in the humanistic approach where scaffolding for autonomy and personal growth are attributed to reciprocity of love and respect from an early age. By creating a mind map, I was able to better explore my perceived image of the child by reflecting on my professional values and beliefs of early childhood education. Throughout this investigation, I was then able to come to a conclusion and create a metaphor for the child that reflects my pedagogical beliefs and theoretical understandings. Children are as unique as a fingerprint. In each thread of my mind map, the notion of uniqueness was a recurring theme and presented itself as an underlying concept in the construction of my metaphor. Fingerprints consist of loops, whorls, and arches, creating a fingerprint that is totally unique. No two people the world over have the same fingerprint, just as no one child learns identically the same way as another child. Each child is unique, from the way they construct meaning to their individualist way they interpret the world, from their ability to communicate to their understanding of what a family is. Each child comes from a diverse background of experiences that shape and make them who they are. Just as young children grow, change and adapt, so do their fingerprints. Fingerprints can be scarred, damaged or broken to reflect a person's life experiences. Just as fingerprints are forensically interpreted and analysed, so too are children and their learning experiences. As teachers, we observe, record, analyse and interpret our findings of student results, ability and skill to make better future judgments regarding their education. If we do not look at the whole picture of the child, we may misinterpret or misunderstand who they are as a learner. I would now like to present my 5 teaching and learning principles, which are reflected in my metaphor, children are as unique as a fingerprint. My first principle is entitled, Children Learn Through Play. But what is play and why is it so crucial to young children's development in the early years of life? Play is an inborn disposition for learning, where imagination and curiosity are fostered in a world of social fantasy and real-life experiences. Play is multifaceted and happens in a social and cultural context that reflects each child's unique understanding of the things that are valued within that context. We know that a play-centered curriculum is a powerful tool in fostering children's development. It is an emergent curriculum where young children engage in a developmentally appropriate play experiences that support higher order thinking and problem-solving skills, scaffold language development when interacting in small or large group social settings, or when engaged with a peer or teacher who is more skilled, promotes high self-efficacy and positive self-esteem, supports the development of personal and cultural identity, develops social skills where children learn to take turns, negotiate and work collaboratively to achieve a desired goal, develops lifelong emotional skills such as empathy and resilience, extends and investigates child's interests so as to better support each child in their own way of learning, develops physical skills, and offers opportunities for each child to take risks, explore and construct knowledge, be imaginative, creative, and feel empowered to be themselves in a safe environment. Play gives children opportunities to test out missing insights to make connections in a non-binding, low-risk context. Learning through play has long been supported by a number of constructivist educational theorists. These theories of work identify that the child plays an active role in constructing their own knowledge or that which is developed. Vygotsky, a constructivist theorist, was particularly interested in three important social cognitive processes which children develop the skills for through the medium of play. These processes are encompassed in his theory of the zone of proximal development, the movement from interpersonal and intrapersonal knowledge, and the transition from implicit to explicit rules. Vygotsky believed that all learning happens in social contexts and experiences, and illuminated the importance play has on children's development of language. He theorized that higher cognitive processes are socially developed through play experiences that are dialogic with the use of social speech, inner speech, talk thinking, and thought thinking. Furthermore, Vygotsky highlighted that cognitive development in the means of intersubjectivity is promoted throughout these shared social play experiences where children develop higher order thinking skills. As children's language and social conversational skills improve, they increasingly seek out play experiences with more skilled peers and adults to engage with. The child is then able to complete tasks and construct knowledge that wouldn't have been able to be possible without such interactions and scaffolding. While Vygotski's focus emphasized on the outcomes of play, Piaget's view highlighted the origins of play. Much like Vygotsky, Piaget identified the social environment of children as an empirical factor in cognitive development. Piaget argued that development is derived through twin processes: assimilation, which is the incorporation of the environment into the child's actions or schemes, and accommodation, which is a process of creating new schemas or adjusting old ones after noticing that current ways of thinking do not fit the environment completely, or in other words, bending to the pressure of reality. Children engage in imaginative, creative, fantasy play to transform, for example, a normal living room that quickly turns into a farm with farm animals exploring the land. Children then engage in the process of accommodation when their actions or schemas are accommodated to meet reality. For instance, the child imitates the sound of a horse while pretending to be a horse. The child is accommodating to the sounds made by horses. So what does this principle look like in the context? Play can be encouraged when children or students are active participants in the process of constructing knowledge. Opportunities for students to decide what and how they want to learn leads the way for better curricular engagement and enhances better academic results and learning outcomes. Although some learning must be guided by teacher instruction, students are still able to engage in play experiences to learn. This can be achieved by creating a play-like environment, facilitating students access to resources that are at their skill level and are of interest to them, allowing students to use materials as they wish, and supporting them in presenting learning or assessment in a way that they wish so as to scaffold high self-efficacy and support learning that is equitable. Fostering learning experiences that support inquiry learning, open-ended learning, and focus on problem solving allow a play-centered curriculum to run smoothly in the classroom or learning context. For instance, when engaged in a unit about animals, you could learn about heat retention of penguins by engaging in ice play to learn how this animal retains its warmth. So how does this teaching and learning principle link to my metaphor? As identified, play experiences reflect children's or students' interests, needs, and preferences. Each learning experience is unique in its interpretation to the child, just as each fingerprint is unique and tells a story of a person's experiences. Play not only supports but highlights each student's uniqueness and their own interpretation or understanding in all areas of learning. My second principle is children learn in different ways. In every learning environment or classroom is a collection of students from diverse educational and cultural backgrounds whose unique skills and knowledge amplify each frame of learning. As adults, being different is something that many of us cherish and take pride in. However, as a young student, being different or not being able to engage in the curriculum the way another peer might can be embarrassing and drastically impact a student's confidence. Therefore, as teachers, it is imperative that we support equality in learning and assessment through the means of differentiation so that each child has an equal opportunity to learn the way that they learn best, as well as to ensure that each child meets the learning objectives or goals. We need to ask, who are my students? What do I know about them and what are their needs? What does this mean for the management of delivering my curriculum content? What does this mean for student learning? How can students demonstrate their learning so that it is fair and equitable? And what does this mean for my teaching practice? These questions ensure that we as teachers have an authentic insight into each unique student's developmental background, paving the way for tailored, appropriate, and engaging differentiated learning. Supporting differentiated practices, Howard Gardner identified 8 independent intelligences that highlight the varying ways that children learn how to solve problems, create products, and discover new knowledge, and in turn dismisses the notion of general knowledge. In other words, Gardner does not advocate for a one-size-fits-all approach, instead highlights how an individual's information processing skills underline their intelligent behaviour. Gardner's multiple intelligences include linguistic, logico-mathematical, musical, spatial, bodily kinesthetic, naturalist, interpersonal, and intrapersonal intelligence. Gardner explains that all children have an inborn core domain of thought from an early age of life. However, it is their experiences with and responses to the demands of the culture that they transform those intelligences to fit the tasks that they are required to perform. Sternberg's triarchic theory of successful intelligence can also be used when reflecting on how to utilize each student's uniqueness to meet the learning objectives. Sternberg's triarchic theory consists of 3 broad interacting intelligences: analytical intelligence, creative intelligence, and practical intelligence. Sternberg clarifies that intelligent behavior is a matter of balancing all 3 intelligences to achieve success in life in alignment with an individual's personal goals or requirement of one's cultural community. The triarchic theory especially emphasizes the forms of intelligence based on how a culture regards behavior as intelligent. Sternberg's theory advocates for teachers to really examine each child's intellectual strength and look beyond what is classically a cognitively intelligent child. So how do we as teachers cater for each child's intelligence in a diverse classroom? Teachers need to design and adapt the curriculum to suit the students' learning needs. As teachers, we need to steer away from didactic instruction and allow for students to actively participate in the curriculum, in turn facilitating co-construction of knowledge in a process that is more meaningful and engaging for the student. Designing and adapting assessment tasks that advocate for equitable student participation so as to demonstrate each child's skill or knowledge is also important. For example, if a student has difficulty writing a short story about animal habitats, they may wish to create a tangible hand-on creation that demonstrates their knowledge. Using the classroom environment to facilitate group work, individual discovery and collecting of resources that draw upon different skill levels on the same curriculum topic or task allows teachers to accommodate students' differences in their learning styles, talents and abilities. Developing individual education plans for students with intellectual impairments are a particularly useful tool in helping develop relevant curriculum statements, teaching strategies and resources that provide educational outcomes that are achievable and provide the child with a sense of accomplishment, pride, and autonomy. So how does this principle of teaching and learning link to my metaphor? A fingerprint is used to identify a person. It is a record of their life they have lived and what paths they took to reach their destination. The image of a fingerprint can also be likened to a map, a winding, interwoven, often overwhelming map that leads to a certain destination that you are trying to arrive at. I believe this reflects how the child learns. Each child is on a different route and arrives at their destination at a different speed, with different understandings and views, and in a different mode of delivery. Each child takes different classes, uses knowledge to create a product in a unique way, and constructs knowledge in a different speed. However, with effective and authentic teaching practices, each child reaches their destination, the learning objective. My third principle is children learn when secure and reciprocal partnerships are formed between their family, teachers and community. Have you heard the African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child? Research proves that a child's family and their community play a vital role in providing a holistic and nurturing lifelong education. Learning outcomes are most likely to be achieved when teachers work in partnership with families, as we recognise that families are children's first and most influential teachers. Throughout respectful partnerships, teachers can collaborate with the child's family to make curriculum decisions so as to ensure that learning experiences are authentic and meaningful. Developing local community partnerships ensures that there is an active connection between the teacher and community, allowing the school context to action events where whole school teamwork is present and involves parents and the community in shared decision making. Scaffolding this sense of belonging reflects a value-based planning approach, where partnerships between the teacher, families and community are fostered, reflecting the development of a rich resource. Throughout these partnerships, students learn to become citizens in a community, and in turn support teachers' pedagogical evolution to be more inclusive. The works of Marie Bronfenbrenner align with my pedagogical beliefs and my third principle. Bronfenbrenner developed the ecological systems theory to explain how the child's biological world is directly influenced by environmental forces to in turn mould the child's development. Bronfenbrenner viewed the environmental topologically as an arrangement of 4 interconnected layers or systems that represent relationships that affect the developing child. Bronfenbrenner's model places an emphasis on the dynamic nature of these systems and the interaction between the children and their environments. Bronfenbrenner's theory ensures that teachers look beyond the immediate environment, such as the school or home environment, and examine the interaction between the elements in the context of the community, that is, the neighbourhood and extended families, for example, as well as examining the laws and culture that impact the student's ecology. So let's have a look at what this principle looks like in practice. In order to scaffold reciprocal partnerships between a child's family, teacher and community, there must be open communication so there are positive and constructive interactions every day. Such open communication can be achieved through greetings in the morning and afternoon, consistent email communication, class newsletters, conducting surveys to gather information and feedback on a range of topics, and establishing an open door policy where students' families are able to help participate in the curriculum delivery through rostered learning events such as literacy or numeracy rotations. Supporting participation of students' families in school events such as fetes and fundraisers in the community and wider environment is also a great way to scaffold a sense of belonging and sustainable partnerships. This can also be established when teachers make the time to attend and address parent and citizen meetings in the community. This type of engagement supports ongoing participation in opportunities for feedback and consultation. Inviting community members, organisations or businesses to participate in the curriculum provides students with a wholesome understanding of their community, allowing them to become active citizens and establishing their own voice. So how does Principle 3 link to my metaphor? When creating my metaphor, I instantly likened the image of a fingerprint to that of Bronfenbrenner's ecological systems theory and the circular context that identify a child's unique circumstances. Just as a fingerprint is unique, so is a child's ecology. Throughout each stage of their development, each child has engaged with several diverse environmental factors that have greatly contributed to their development. As a teacher, it is my responsibility to understand each child's background to better understand them as a learner in my classroom. Each child's unique experiences greatly impact the way that I need to design my teaching strategies to utilise their knowledge and engage with them in the school community. Each child's ecology is as diverse and unique as a fingerprint. My fourth teaching and learning principle is children learn through collaborative social interactions. Social interactions are a crucial platform for learning in the early years of life as they provide students with opportunities to engage in higher order cognitive functions and to in turn develop and improve metacognitive awareness and regulation. Highly collaborative interactions between students and their teachers provides opportunities for shared activity where co-construction of understanding and knowledge is evident. Moreover, social interactions provide learners with opportunities to develop a sense of self, learn social behaviours such as sharing and cooperating, as well as developing language and communication, cognitive and motor skills necessary to be active learners. The development of language is particularly important when students engage in social collaborations. Through this collaborative social process, students engage with individuals, both peers and teachers, who are more skilled in tasks, consequently scaffolding new knowledge. The notion that knowledge can be constructed through collaborative social interactions is supported by Vygotsky's theory of the zone of proximal development. Vygotsky advocated for social instructions as he believed that when students interact with their teachers and peers, they engage in higher mental functions to co-construct understandings. Vygotsky introduced the zone of proximal development to explain what a student can achieve independently and what they can achieve under guidance or in collaboration with adults or more skilled peers. Therefore, through this social practice, students scaffold knowledge and ultimately accommodate new skills and information that they wouldn't have been able to achieve on their own. In turn, students contribute to their own zone of proximal development. Furthermore, Vygotsky identified play as a source of authentic and developmentally appropriate collaborative interactions and a place where students create their zone of proximal development. He advocated for social and cognitive collaborations that create this zone and in turn illuminated the importance of socially rich environments. So let's have a look at how we can support collaborative social interactions in the classroom. Organising the classroom desk to create small and large social working environments is a great way to start, as it allows students to learn and scaffold social skills with peers from varying developmental backgrounds. Moreover, organising small learning environments of interest to the students around the classroom and outdoor environments supports students' collaborative interactions through peer discussions or even project or task work. Allowing students to discuss and talk at their tables is also a great tool. However, noise levels and focus on content are important so as to not detract from learning. Therefore, guidelines need to be set. Tools. As well as peer collaboration, teachers and student interaction is an important process as it not only gives the teacher time to help their students, it also allows time to build relationships with the students, build trust and support. Teacher-student engagement provides an opportunity, moreover, for the teacher to help build upon social skills necessary for effective and authentic peer social interactions. So how does this principle link to my metaphor? Collaborative social interactions support each student in discovering themselves, discovering their strengths, and discovering how they can contribute to the world around them. Moreover, social interactions advocate for students to highlight their unique personalities, skills, and abilities. Just as each child is as unique as a fingerprint, so are social interactions. My final teaching and learning principle is, children learn when their learning environment supports them. I believe the learning environment acts as the third teacher. Indoor and outdoor environments provide opportunities to support and scaffold students' level of autonomy, agency, problem-solving skills, physical, emotional, and social exploration, as well as providing provocation for inquiry learning, where their interests lead the way in the construction of knowledge. The environment should offer a safe and secure area of learning where students and young children feel supported and confident to discover the world around them, no matter their physical or mental capability. I believe the environment and the provisions of resources within it advocate for a learner-centered philosophy of education, where the teacher's role is to facilitate a process in order to assist students in gathering the information they need to succeed. The environment acts as the ever-changing product in this process of constructing knowledge, so that learners are free to explore and reach their full potential. Abraham Maslow's work reiterates my teaching and learning practices where a humanistic approach is used to recognize the uniqueness of a student's skills and abilities. Maslow's hierarchy of needs consists of 5 levels in the representation of a pyramid, in turn suggesting that the highest levels of the pyramid cannot be achieved unless the basic needs of the student at the foundation of the pyramid are met first. Maslow's hierarchy of needs supports the notion that learning is best achieved through doing, and advocates for teachers to focus on the student's needs in learning rather than that of the teacher or the curriculum. Like Maslow, I advocate more towards a humanistic approach to education, as earlier discussed when examining Katz-Meyer and Moller's philosophy of education inventory. In this view, the product of the environment is genuinely concerned and consulted so students' needs, desires, personal values, self-perceptions, and motivations are addressed. So let's have a look at how we can establish such a setting in the lower primary context. Following the works of Reggio Emilia, the physical environment should be used to inform, engage, and excite the curiosity of the student. The environment needs to provoke social interactions and communication by creating small and large working areas that are focused on the interests of the students, making their interactions more meaningful and constructive. The environment needs to be interchangeable with resources and stimuli that reflect curriculum content and serve as provocation for independent and group research. Students need to have access to resources that are usable and challenging to support their skill set. The environment should reflect a respectful and inquisitive stand on cultural views and reflect the collective diversity of the classroom. This could be achieved by creating a family wall or areas of learning with cultural artifacts. The environment also needs to be safe and secure for students to participate in both a physical and an emotional sense. Hazards such as power cords and electrical ports need to be safely considered, as well as understanding health issues such as sun safety. The environment needs to be adequately provided with resources for students who need additional support. This could include sensory timeout areas, visual and audible resources, proper access to the bathrooms, ramps or disability equipment, as well as ensuring the environment is at a comfortable and engaging temperature. So how does this link to my metaphor? An environment that has been designed with the interwoven considerations of pedagogical beliefs and architectural design will have the power to support each child in being themselves. Each child is unique in the way they learn, and the environment plays a large role in how it supports each child's educational journey. Each fingerprint is unique in its construction of whorls, loops, and arches. These physical attributes of a fingerprint can be compared to that of the unique traits of a student's quirks, personality, learning habits, and styles. Therefore, the environment, working as a third teacher, has the ability to scaffold and foster a student's unique set of skills, whether that be physical or not, to support them in their development to become autonomous, capable, and confident learners. Thank you for taking the time to view my presentation. I hope you now understand why I believe children are as unique as a fingerprint, and have an understanding of how my 5 teaching and learning principles highlight my pedagogical views and beliefs.